Hello, hello! Welcome back to a live stream, this time a Q&A session about conventions. So today I have with me Manu. He is a very seasoned convention goer. So I thought we're gonna be answering some questions about conventions. I have grouped all the questions asked into a few categories. So I have like preparations, travel, promotional material, payments, table setup questions, and in the last a little bit of a success and failure and what determines what. So I'm gonna be sharing, as I said, my personal experience and everything that I accumulated in, what is it now? Like since 2013, so it's almost a decade of doing conventions. And I will be starting with the first question, which was about the preparations category. So we have how much stock to bring. And what I like to do is, as orientation, I like to check the predictions that the convention itself gives for how many people are gonna show up. So that's my first criteria. If they say like, oh, it's gonna be maybe, I don't know, 5,000 people, then you don't have to stress that much. If they say it's gonna be 10,000 or a million people, then bring a lot more stock. What I like to do is I like to calculate the stock by table price. So for example, if I want to have a, let's say a table is, I don't know, $50, 50 euro. I'm not sure in which currency I'm gonna be talking, but let's say it's gonna be a $50 convention. So I'm gonna try to bring stock in the amount of at least 3 to 5 times of that $50 in order to make the table back, make any cost back, and also have a chance to score a bit of a bonus from extra sales that I can reinvest into the stock for future conventions, web shop, or any other stuff. So if it's a big convention, then I would bring a lot more. I think for Dutch Comic Con, which is my biggest convention, I bring really like about 500 plushies and not even counting all the other merch that I have, like keychains and stickers and stuff. I kind of gave up on counting stickers because I'm just printing them out and there are way too many of them. So I have really like stock worth of 20,000 or to 30,000 euro if I really look at it, how many. But and it also depends how much fits in my car. Now I have a bigger car so I can fit more things, but I always try to bring stuff that actually fits. Like I have a designated space for plushies, which are quite squishy, so you can squish them in a couple of bags. Or like for stickers, they are quite compact as well, so I can just put them and stack them in a box, and that makes it really easy to take them with me. So if I would, like, let's say, quantify it a bit more, for a small convention where I have like just one small table of about a meter, I'm not sure how much that is in feet. I think it's about 3 feet, maybe. I'm not completely sure. So for about 3 feet table, like the standard small table, I would take about 30 to 50 keychains because I tend to notice that those sell a lot for me and they're at a lower price point, so people tend to buy them quicker. So I bring about 30 to 50 keychains. If I have time, I bring more to sew at the table. It's always handy. I do about 20 chibis or blobs or a mix of them because they're also quite tiny and can fit on the table easily. And if I really have space, I like to build on the top a shelf for about 5 to 10 bigger plushies, or as much as it can fit. I always tend to overpack and bring a lot more if I have the stock, because if some stuff is not selling, I tend to rotate it and just grab something new from the bag, put it on the table. Let's say if there is one plushie that nobody's looking at, then I tend to just move it somewhere else or exchange it for a different one. So I think this is in case of numbers, that's kind of like what I'm going with. So if it's a big convention, then my numbers are really like off the charts. So how do I know which items are likely to sell or be popular for each event? The problem with this is that it's always a gamble. Like, you cannot predict, no matter how hard you try, you cannot predict what is going to be popular. And it also depends from event to event or country to country. The general rule or general things about stuff is that fan art items tend to sell a lot more, which is sad for people that do original art, but also good if you want to have a guaranteed, like guaranteed in quotations, sale. For example, there is a lot of people making evolutions and a lot of different style, a lot of plushies, or also other merchandise, not necessarily just plushie artists. But the problem with that is that there is a lot of competition and a lot of choice, which means that it's really like a bet from which table people are gonna grab something from. I also noticed that it really depends on the country. For example, let's say if I take the evolutions as an example, I have Flareon. People go crazy in Germany for him. Whenever I put him on the table in Germany, it's sold out. And same for Glaceon. People love Glaceon, Flareon in Germany. But if I go to the Netherlands or Belgium, they are the only two that stay on the table at the end of the day. Nobody likes them. So yeah, it really depends with that. One other category are the trendy items. So let's say a new anime is released or a new game is released and it really is popular and everybody's cosplaying that and everybody's talking just about that. It's kind of like with fan art or the rest of the things. It's like it's a lot of competition. So, and the trendy items, the risk is also you might create stuff for one convention and you have a convention a week later and that thing is not popular anymore, or even you put it in the web shop, people already have it, so, or maybe they have it from a different artist, or maybe they're not interested anymore. So it tends to go out of fashion really quickly. So for example, that also depends per country. Like in the Netherlands, I sold out of Pal World merch. Everybody wanted Pal World. Everybody was happy that I had Pal World on my table. I went to Belgium. Nobody liked Pal World there. And I sold like Legend of Zelda stuff or Okami or other things. Pal World just stayed on my table. So it's really like hit and miss all the time. So the third category would be original plushies, original designs, or pets. So you have like cats, wolves, snakes, or any other more original things that are not based on games or anime. They're really great and unique items for your table. People really love seeing, like, let's say if you have cats, they love to see their pets there. They're like, oh, this one looks just like my cat, and they would buy it right away. And it's something unique that that really like makes people happy. They can be though a little bit more specific. So let's say if you have a bunch of cats, people are really gonna love the tabby cat, or they're gonna love the black cat, but they're not gonna love the white cat. For some reason the white cat would just stay over and nobody would would buy it. So it's really like yeah, people really flip-flop also with colors, like so it's a really like a big bet. So what I like to do is I like to bring a wide range of things that potentially a lot of people would like. Hey Jackie, hey Susan, hey Sue. Great to see you too, thank you. So I'm just explaining about how do I know which items to bring to the convention. So I just explained the three categories that I categorize items, which is fan art, trendy items, or original designs. And yeah, the normal ratio that I like to go by is I bring, like, if I go to a small convention that I never visited before, so I don't know what people like, I like to bring about 30% original designs, 60% fan art, and 10% of the trendy, all the latest items that everybody is raving about. So I have like 30, 60, 10, something like that. Or on conventions that people know me more and come for the dragons, for example, then I would just switch completely. I would do 70% dragons and 30% of the rest. So it really depends on your audience as well. And yeah, as I mentioned before, people really are picky about colors. So I always try to bring a rainbow of everything. So I always make sure to have some pinks, some blues, some greens, some yellow, like really like every single color of the rainbow. And it's also like different per country, per season, per convention. People like pink one time, then I would think like, oh, I'm going there again. I remember people loved pink, so I would make pink stuff. And then I would come there, nobody would buy pink, everybody would be buying blue, you know? And then I'm like, oh, okay, everybody's buying blue. For next convention, let me make more blue because it seems like blue is trendy now. And then I come there and everybody's demanding yellow or purple, you know? It's really like, it's a hit or miss. You cannot predict stuff. Don't get stuck too much on it. Just try and make a little bit of everything or whatever you like and just, yeah, go with it. So, next question. Do you bring a mix of weighted versus polyfill plushies? What are your weighted plushies stuff with? So, yes, I bring a lot of everything. If I have a big table, then I would take like every single plushie. I would take like the 5x7, which are a bit like this. I take the jumbo plushies, I take the micro plushies, I take keychains, like everything. I like to bring a mix. But if I have just a small table and very limited with space, then I like to bring just a couple of big weighted plushies, and the rest I bring small plushies, and that is for the reason being the price difference. So I like to bring like high-priced items, low-priced items, and if I have extra space, then I also bring the middle-priced items, so people really can choose between the three options. And my weighted plushies are filled with a mix of polyfill and plastic beans to give them a bit of that weight and floppiness. So yeah, a mix of everything. Can you bring only plush, or is it recommended to bring other stock like stickers and pins, etc.? Well, you can bring anything that fits your brand. Sticker, pins, and other small merch is really a great low price items. You're gonna see people buying them a lot, especially like at the last moment. They tend to like come for like, oh, I just want a sticker, or maybe they just spend all their money and they want something small because they like your art, and they're gonna drop by and just buy something small. Because it feels more like an impulse buy without commitment, you know. If you really have to like buy a giant plushie of $100, you're not gonna just buy it on a whim. Like, it really rarely happens. People always like overthink. But if it's a small item of just like $2, then people are like more easily to say like, oh, I'm taking that with me, you know. Or even if they're buying something else, they like to grab something extra because they like the design. And what is also nice is that you can always fill up your table with them. So if you have extra space or your table feels a bit empty, just throw in a couple of stickers, a couple of buttons. I notice that people tend to just put them on the table. They don't even put them like in this place and so just fill up your table a bit. And what I like to do with the extra merch is, if I have a certain design of plushies, but I didn't manage to make, let's say, I don't know, a legendary bird Pokemon, then I would just draw it really quickly and have a sticker of the legendary bird, or maybe a button, because I can do it really quickly. So small items are great for like more impulse buying, and or for kids. Kids really love stickers, and they're a great filler if you're like in a pinch and need to fill up the table. Next question is, how do you keep up with your stock? This is a very hard one. So I tend to start making the stock at least half a year to 4 months in advance. So I tend to really like plan things out ahead. I already know, for example, I'm gonna be doing griffins for the next convention, and dragons are kind of like a staple, but let's say I'm gonna be doing griffins and a lot of Pokemon, so I tend to like pre-cut the fabric for them already. And if there are like certain Pokemon or certain creatures using the same colors, I tend to group them together in the embroidery hoop. So I use the larger embroidery hoop and do, let's say, if you have Pikachu and Jolteon, they are both the same shade of yellow. So I would just do like, let's say, a couple of keychains of Pikachu and add a blob of Jolteon just in one hoop, and then use the same fabric color. So it saves me a bit of space, it saves me a bit of time, but also space in the hoop. I can expand on that. And then at the end of the day, instead of having like 10 Pikachus, I just have 2 Pikachus and 3 Jolteons, which is a win-win anyways. So sometimes also if I have a plushie order, or if I'm making like a Patreon pattern, I tend to do like a second plushie and put that one aside. So then I have it for the upcoming convention. I always have like a extra stock on the side that I don't put in the shop or show online. So then they travel to the convention with me. So my goal when I start creating convention stock is to embroidery and finish at least 3 big plushies or 5 charms per day. So that means that sometimes it might happen that I don't manage to do any embroidery. Sometimes it happens that I don't manage to do any hand sewing right now. So it's like I try to at least stick to that goal of like at least 3 plushies a day. That's fine. And then if I keep that for a long month or 2, then I already have quite enough stocked that I don't have to stress about the next convention. And in order to track it, I just like to write everything down that I plan to do. So I have like a big Excel sheet that is planning like, oh, I'm gonna use the Griffin pattern, I'm gonna use Pikachu pattern, I'm gonna use this pattern. So then I can already group them by color or by size or whatever it's easier in that moment. And I write down everything, like let's say I finished 3 Pikachus, so I would write 3 Pikachus in the Excel sheet. And that also helps me track and get things, after I'm back from the convention, I can see like, oh, this many I sold, this many I sold. So it helps me keep track of the stock and of the things that I have. Also for the coming shop update, then I know how much I have. So feel free to ask any questions in between. I have quite a long list of questions that I prepared pictures and stuff for, and more extended answers. So I'm going through, but if you have any questions in between, just feel free to ask. So this was it for the category of the preparation. I have the next category, but before I do that, I think I'm gonna show you a couple of pictures. So my preparations look a little bit like, let me just switch my screen around. So my preparations look a bit like this, which is very messy. Like if you see my room during convention season, everything is all over the place. And what I have is I like to sort everything that I have per design. For example, for buttons, I tend to put everything into a little like divider box, and then I know exactly how many I have, and I just fill them up through the year, through the months, and have that. I managed to fit everything in a suitcase that can fit. So I have like my grid, my like this is just for the table setting up. So the tablecloths, the grids, the everything that's needed. I have extra boxes next to it, like all the other how do you call them, like baskets or grid displays and stuff. Everything goes in. I like to take my keychains in plastic drawers, because I can use them as a table under the convention, but also like just opening the drawers and putting stuff on the table is much more easier than just dragging everything out from a bag. So I tend to split it that way. So if I have a small table, this is what I take with me. So I have like a big suitcase with the building material. I have extra things with my personal, like now I switched the duffel bag for a backpack, so I have like clothes and food and whatever is needed for my personal stuff that I leave at the hotel. I have 1 or 2 or 3 of these IKEA bags, which are perfect for plushies. A lot of plushies fit in. Normally, if I have like bigger plushies with me, I can still squish and pat them down to fit a lot of them in the bag and then just fill the rest with plushie keychains. I tend to split everything into like plastic bags inside, so then I can just grab one thing from the blue bag and say, let's say it's keychains, then I grab another bag, it's bigger plushies, so I know exactly like which items are where. And yeah, this is kind of like how my preparations look like. Just a lot of sorting, a lot of preparing, no space for anybody, me just running around like a chicken without a head. So and then this happens. So this is like a little bit of what is happening there behind the scenes. So the next question set is travel. So one question was, do you go solo or do you have helpers? How many and what do they do? So when I do small conventions or travel abroad, I tend to go alone. One exception was the last convention in Germany. A friend really wanted to come with me to learn how to sell at the convention, so I allowed him to come with me, and I didn't have any extra payment that I needed to do at the B&B, so we could just stay together for no extra cost in one room. But this was like an exception because he's my best friend, so he was just tagging along and doing his thing. But normally I really find it hard to pay for an extra hotel room, to have a helper, because yeah, just asking somebody like, hey, come with me but pay your own thing, then it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. I always like to pay for things if I invite people to do something. So yeah, if I go abroad, I always go alone, which is doable. It's not that much of a problem. It's a little bit more stressful because you have to think about taking breaks or not taking breaks, but it's very doable. So helpers are mostly needed to allow you to go to the toilet, pretty much. If I'm honest, like having a toilet break, having a food break, to just be able to eat behind your table, so that you're not like eating there in front of people. If it's a necessity, you can eat in front of people, but I like to just hide myself a bit behind. So, and of course, watching your table if you're not there, or if you're just turning around, then it's nice to have somebody like with an extra set of eyes just checking things out. But like, yeah, helpers are not necessarily needed. You can do it well on your own, but if you have somebody to help you out, sometimes just for mental support, that's already like a big help. So when I'm in the Netherlands, my worker comes with me, so I pick her up in the morning, we drive there. She doesn't help me with building. Sometimes I have people or friends or somebody that I exchange my ticket with. Like, I tend to sell my spare tickets for somebody in return to help me build, because I'm really taking way too long building. So I tend to trade for extra help. But for my own worker, it's of course paid work, so I like to, like every single helper that I have, I pay them for the work at my table. So my worker, for her, is just a regular work day. She comes in the morning, we drive there, stay all day, do stuff at the table, and just, yeah, go back and repeat. So Kira does the same work behind the table as I do. I trust her completely, so she can handle the money, she can handle the customers, no problem. So we have two payment what do you call it? Like points of sale systems. So I check out customers with one, she checks out customers with the other. So then we're a bit quicker and customers don't have to wait in line too long. So I let her do practically the same work. We do like tag team exchanges. One goes to the toilet, the other one watches the table, then we switch, rotate, or I like to just give her a bit of free time to go around, check the convention, take some pictures or get food and stuff, just take a break. I tend to just stay at the table and don't move for the entire day except for toilet breaks. So for any questions about plush makings or embroidery or any collections and stuff that customers might have, she redirects them to me so I can answer to them more in depth. When the moments are a little bit slow, Kira tends to do mostly sewing or just restocking or putting business cards up or some other things, and I'm mostly filming or changing the setup of the table or rotating plushies or whatever else is needed at that moment. So if you have a small table, like just one table, I wouldn't advise you to have more than one helper because it can get crowded very quickly, and you need to also make sure that you train people up front. So whoever comes with you, make sure that they see your table setup and also like under the table how you're gonna place the spare items or stock, so they know exactly where to go for certain things, so you're not in the way of each other. If you have more than one helper, then it's always easy to have like them rotate or to just take breaks while the other two works, you know, so it's not too crowded. And of course helping keeping an eye on things on both sides, like from the customer perspective or from behind your table perspective, it's also very handy. And it's nice to rotate if you have more people for that. Okay, next question. Do you do conventions in other countries or just your own home country? If you do travel, how do you get there? Public transport, driving, train, flying, etc. Okay, so since 2013, I've been doing conventions in the Netherlands, which is my home country, let's say. I did Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, because they're close enough for me to go by car. And even though I book a hotel, I do it just for less stress and things. And it's normally, I don't exceed like 4.5, maybe 5 hours drive from my home. I think the furthest away right now is Belgium, which is 4.5 hours for me, but it's still doable. I have been to Luxembourg last year, or was it 2 years ago? But it was 8-hour drive for me, and I was so exhausted when I came there that I really had little energy. So I think I'm not gonna be doing that one for the coming few years. I'm kind of preparing some setups to be able to fly to conventions, but my setup is not optimized for it yet. It's not compact enough, so I'm still switching stuff around. But I would like to go around Europe a bit more. That was my dream before Corona. I was wanting to go to America for a convention, but Corona happened, so I wasn't able to go any further, and now I kind of feel like everything has kind of reset, and I just want to go around Europe first and then do America and outside of Europe, because there is a lot of things you have to take care of, like customs fees and taxes and all that stuff. So it adds another layer of things for me. So I'm exploring options to go by plane, and then I would like to make everything fit into max 2 suitcases, nothing more, nothing less, because I think going by public transport after, and so not having a car would be kind of hard. Like I know a lot of artists that go by train or by bus or whatever, and just hearing all those stories about what hassle it is because train is too late or the connection with the bus is missed or stuff like that. For me, that's a bit too stressful. So I just like to see what fits in the car, and how far I can go with the car, and yeah. Maybe in the future, maybe next year, like at the end of the year, I'm gonna try and do a couple more international by plane, but we'll see how things develop. So I only been doing like stuff in the circle around my countries, and I'm looking to actually do next year a convention in my home country in Slovenia. So if I go there on vacation, let's say in May, there is a small convention in the capital that I could go try out and see how yeah, how it goes. People don't really know me in my home country, so it would be a nice experience to do it there. If you ever come to America, do you think you will design state-themed dragons like Florida Man Dragon, Cowboy Texas Dragon, Big Apple, New York Dragon, California Surfer Dragon? Oh, I would love that. I think a nice Cowboy Texas Dragon would be awesome. And Florida Man, like that's amazing. I would love to. I would love to. Like, I really love doing the collections of more themed things. So definitely, definitely. Yeah. So, does your stock travel with you, or do you send it in another manner? Yes, I always keep my stock in check. I was once really close to shipping things to Germany because I wasn't sure if it's gonna fit in the car, and some stuff was arriving late, so I messaged the convention and asked about, hey, can I ship you a package with things? They said, yeah, it's possible, but a lot of forms that had to be filled, so I just thought like, yeah, okay. I just rented a bigger car and went anyways. So I didn't use the service, let's say. Most conventions don't allow you to do that. You have to really check what's possible. Like if you have friends or family that live in the same town or close by on the way, it's handy if you can ship it to them. But to the convention themselves, I'm like, especially if it's like packages go missing, packages are opened up without supervision, or maybe stuff is lost or stuff is damaged, like you don't really have sight on it. So I think it would be a lot stressfuler and riskier to ship it, especially let's say you ship something, it arrives damaged, but nobody notices that it's damaged because the package is waiting for you. You arrive there in the morning, open the package to build a table, and everything is broken. You know, that would be a little bit of a yeah, a bad start of the convention, I think. So yeah, and if you're sending stuff over, let's say, to another country, it's also the same problem. If I go to another country, there is a risk that I get stopped or at the customs, or like in the middle of the road, police can stop me and say like, hey, where are you going? What do you have in the car? And I have to list them everything that I have in the car and the quantities. And I would have to pay customs fees because taxes are different per different country, or maybe in America you have different taxes in different states. I'm not completely sure how it is over there. But for example, Germany has a lower tax bracket than Netherlands. So if I would travel to Germany or even to UK or somewhere that is outside of the European Union for now, I could be stopped and I have to list everything I have and pay the I think it's customs fees. I don't know exactly what the official name is. So I have to pay the government for kind of like export of goods. And once I'm back, I can be stopped again. And they say like, hey, you have to show me exactly what you sold. And you have to declare it practically. Luckily, I never had that happen on the road. I know people that have been stopped. I know people that go by public transport or people that go by plane. That's something that I need to keep in check also. If I go by plane, I need to go to the customs section and declare all the items that I have. I have to give them a list. I have to provide them all the invoices. And I heard some people did conventions in Sweden. So Sweden is part of the European Union still, even though they have their own currency. But they had to declare things at the customs before they left back home. and they had to pay like the fees, and then once you get home you have to pay those fees again, and then it nullifies. I'm not completely sure, but you have to keep in mind that as well. So if you send things or travel to a different country, just check how what taxes or import-export laws are out there. I must say that I've never been stopped. I'm just praying that I don't get stopped for now, but it's a chance that it will happen. So yeah. Okay, so that was it for travel, and now we are going further to promotional material, or I just grouped questions about things under promotional material. So how many business cards do you recommend versus convention attendance? Do you bring one for everyone just in case? So I always check how many attendees are projected, indeed. I bring about, like if it's a very big convention of like 100K people, I tend to bring about 2,000 business cards. And if it's a small event, I do well with 500 business cards. Like it's not really I'm not really counting on that everybody that's gonna attend is not going to go past your table. And even if they do, it's not necessarily that they're gonna take business cards. So it really depends on people as well. Like last time at Dutch Comic Con, I blew out through 2,000 plus business cards, and I had also like some extra stickers with me with my web page, and they were all gone. So, then a year before, even though it was so many people, I barely gave any business cards out. So it really depends. And what is very handy is to have something like this printed out, like with QR codes. I did this one, oh, it's mirrored, but I did this one like, hey, sorry, we ran out of business cards, just scan the QR code or take a picture. And then I have stuff like this that I set around the table. It's very handy to have, let's say, just like this at your table, a QR, your Etsy shop or your social media things, and you're able to let people scan it. As I said, like not everybody takes business cards. Some people love to just take a picture of your table and find you later, or scan QR codes, save it in their own way or during pictures. So having something like that at your table, it's always very helpful. Like the more QR codes or like social profile pictures you have, the better. So yeah, whatever is cheap, you know. Sometimes you have a lot of deals for business cards, where I order them, they almost have a weekly like 20% off if you order now. So I'm like, oh, let me just add to cart, and then I I spread out the cost through the years a bit, and I kind of accumulate the business cards that way. Okay, next question is, do you have a banner? If so, what kind and how big? What is very handy is to have a vinyl banner. Those are like weatherproof. They don't really crumple too much. So and they come in many shapes and sizes and everything. You can order them for very cheap. They start for, I think, a 3 feet. Oh, let me check. So a 4 feet banner, so that's 1.5 meter banner. It's about $17 to $20, depends where you order it. But they're very cheap compared to anything else, and they withstand any conditions. So they're really good if you do outdoor events, if you do indoor events. I never have problem that they crumple up or so. I can attach them anywhere. They come, like they have little eyelets, and you can like attach them with rope, attach them with safety pins, you can just glue them somewhere. That also helps. So I have one banner that is behind my table. So this is, let me show you some pictures, maybe that is easier. My table. Here. It's really hard to see because it's just a moment. Must find a picture with the banner. I have here one of my worker. So this is the banner that's here in the back. This one is about what did I say? About 6 feet wide. So what I like to do is I like to make it as wide as a table. Here we had 2 tables, so it was a bit more spread out. So this is something like this, 6 feet by 10 feet, so 180 centimeters by, I'm not sure how much 10 feet is, but this big in comparison to a human. It's one of the standard sizes on Vistaprint where I ordered it, and yeah, I make sure that it's like table to table because I don't want to annoy the neighbors. There is like not that much space behind sometimes, so just look at the size of the table and then order a banner for the minimum size that you have. Like if you just have one smaller table, then order a smaller banner. Even though you have space at the sides of the table, maybe you're in a very cramped convention or so, and other neighbors are gonna have stuff too, so it's gonna be hard to move behind. So yeah, just don't be in the way of other people if you order like a standing banner. I started noticing that one banner is not enough, so I'm gonna be ordering another banner that is gonna be like on the top of my table. So what I was thinking is getting something like this. I might order a wider one and then just cut it with scissors in the middle. The good thing about the banners is they come with either these eyelets, like I said, or grommets. I don't know how it's called. Or you have also like some with rings, or my really old banner had like a plastic, like a ring like this, but it was like a plastic sticker that was on, so it could fit also like other things than just rope through. So I was thinking like to order something like this, split it in half, and just sometimes we have like kind of like on the market, like we have a rig on top of the table. So I'm not sure if I have any pictures here. Yeah, on this picture, for example, we have these rigs on top of the tables, and I was really missing a banner. I know that some people really put this full with banners, so I took like my old banner that I received at the convention last year, so I just put it there, and here I laminated and printed out some like my logo here on top. But I was really missing something on top, so this banner here wasn't really enough, especially if you came like from this side over here, then you didn't see it because the banner was at an angle. But this is like problem for very big tables. So sometimes we have grids like this. Yeah, see, you can see here maybe a little bit, the neighbor hanged it with S hooks. So you can yeah, sometimes you have like some sort of piping, sometimes you have just this kind of walls behind, so you have to be a bit more creative with how you put up things. So I was thinking to just do something like that and have the banners either hooked up with an S hook or with a rope, or maybe I will even tape some up, depends on how it will be. So sometimes, as I said, you have like rigs on top of the table. Some tables even you have like those market roofs, you know, those fabric roofs going down, which looks very pretty. And there you can also like hang something on with safety pins or so, because it's just fabric. But yeah, the vinyl banners are the cheapest around. If not, you also have like fabric banners or flags or like mesh things, but I think that crumples way too much if you have it in a bag or suitcase or a hot car for a few days. Then it really tends to show lines, and I don't think you really want to like steam it, or you won't have your iron with you if you go to a convention, for example, because most of the convention, like no conventions that I've been to really offer electricity with it, so that's a bit crappy. So you're not gonna be there steaming your banner and stuff. So go for vinyl or PVC. I'm not completely sure. I think maybe it's the same thing. So those are the nicest ones, and you can, if you take like a vinyl banner, you can also ignore, like you don't have to really get it in shape. I've seen plenty people that just get it printed and then cut out, you know, and do their own things. So that's also some options. You don't have to stick to the custom sizes that they offer. So yeah, this is a little bit about the promotional things. Bring a lot of business cards, bring some banners, advertisements. If you don't have a banner or so, you can also do, I used to have in the past, I'm not sure if I have a picture here. In the past, I didn't really have many things. Like, yeah, I did have a banner. If I look here, like this was one of my first tables. I just put a banner up. I think it was, I don't know, I think it was like some promotional thing, was paper, and I just put it up with clips on the tablecloth, so it wasn't really a fancy thing. But I used to have also a like this, see, like here, those how do you call it, like the frames to frame pictures, which are just like an acrylic L-shaped stand. So I just put like my QR code there. I used to have another one. Yeah, later I used it as a hanging thing for keychains. But if you have like an easel, you can just put like a little banner or a card there. Just print an A4 paper, laminate it, or just print on photo paper, and you can use that to put somewhere as well. So it's not necessarily that you need a banner. As long as there is some presentation items, you're good. Okay, we have reached the next category, which is payments. So I know that this category was really the most requested. So the first question is, how do you take payments from people? So I try to take a wide variety of payments. So I take cash, I take cards via a POS system, so a point of sale system. I have two that I'm charging one because it was empty. But a little point of sale system, people can go beep with the card and or with the phone or whatever, and then yeah, it can accept that. I do have, let me see if I have it with me here. I'm not completely sure. It should be here. Yeah, I did print out a QR code for my PayPal, so I have like just attached to my POS system, like a PayPal thing, so people can like, or if the payment system doesn't work, or if people don't have enough cash or so, I also allow them to pay via PayPal, so they would just scan this, the payment thing, kind of like the send me money thing would pop up. They would enter the amount that I would tell them, and they could pay me that way. If I'm in the Netherlands, my own bank allows me to do a special QR code for the payments. So let's say when I was in Germany, the person wasn't able to use the POS system because she had like gloves and wasn't able to put her PIN code in. So she asked me like, hey, do you offer any other ways? She didn't have cash on her. The PayPal, she wasn't using PayPal. So then the only option was to do a QR code on, she was Dutch, so it's the same bank. So I was able to provide her a QR code on my bank, so she could pay me directly with a bank transaction on the spot. So that's also an option. Like, I try to just keep a wide variety of things, and people can choose whatever fits them best. So that goes the same for you. Like, you can choose whatever fits you best as well. You don't have to offer everything. You don't have to have like a payment thing for cards. You can always say, like, hey, I'm only gonna accept cash, or I'm only gonna accept PayPal, or maybe just PayPal and cash, but I don't accept cards. So, but I would advise you that if you choose to do that, just make a little banner saying cash only or PayPal only, so people know, so you don't constantly get the same questions. You're gonna get the questions anyways, but if no, you're gonna be constantly saying like, no, only cash, people would walk away. But if you write somewhere like, hey, cash only, then people are more eager to go like, hey, I have some cash, let me go spend it. So just do whatever fits you. I know that yeah, I'm gonna go with the next question more in depth about the payment equipment, so about the SumUp. But yeah, do whatever fits you best, and yeah. So the next question, as I said, I'm gonna go more in depth about the payment equipment. So for I don't have it with me, but I have like I used to have a little safe, kind of like you have in the shop, you know, like a casa safe that you can put money in. But I found that too tedious to carry everywhere with me, and you couldn't really, if you went to the toilet, you couldn't take it with you. So what I did is I bought a wallet that I can clip around my waist, so it's always with me. I always take it everywhere. If I leave my table, or if my worker or so leaves, then I just clamp it around my waist to know that it's always next to me. And for the rest, I have the SumUp payment. Oh, this one is charged already. So SumUp payment options. I do have two, and I'm gonna tell you why. So first, in general, about SumUp, why I like them. I'm not sponsored by them, but I like them because they have no monthly fees. A lot of payment systems that you have a lot of monthly fees that even if you don't have a convention or a market or whatever, you have to pay the fees, which I think is crappy. But SumUp doesn't have any fees. You only pay a percentage of the payment rates. I'm not completely sure what it is right now. I think it's 0.03 or 0.3% of the transaction that they take as a fee. Don't quote me on that, I forgot to check, but I can do it really quickly. So SumUp, let me see how much it is. So I'm not really. Oh, okay. The SumUp rate, they increased it. It used to be 0.3, but they increased it to 1.69% of processing the digital payment. So that's not such a big fee. I think still they have the cheapest rates on the market for that. And they accept multiple contactless and card payments from credit cards, from Visas, from debit cards, from they really cover a lot of things, even Apple Pay and Google Pay, like everything. So that's why I really chose for them, because I know that a couple of other ones, like I'm not sure if this is a worldwide one, but the iZettle, that one doesn't work in Belgium with certain banks, for example. So, but I know that SumUp does. So sometimes if there is an artist that their payment thing doesn't work, then they come and borrow mine, my second one, if I'm not using it. So yeah, it really works at a big variety of cards and things that you can collect. And you can set it up via phone or a tablet. It has a very handy app that shows you everything. I have set up even a library. I'm not gonna be able to show you like this, but I'm gonna show you a picture of how it looks. So SumUp allows you to do a couple of very nifty things. You have a there we go. This is like the screenshot of my phone. So you can set up a library, so you can just tap and check out. So what I would do is just set up everything. Like I have acrylics, I have buttons, I have clips, I have stickers. So let's say somebody would want to buy a sticker. You would just tap on the sticker and go to charge, then this would light up and show how many items are in the cart. And you have like an option to add a quantity, or I tend to do a second variation because I have a sale going. They get 6 stickers for €5. So I set that up as a second variation, so we're a bit quicker than just going to cart, adding 6 stickers and applying a discount. So I just set it up here with already discounted. So let's say you would buy 1 sticker, you would just tap on this, add to cart, then you would go to charge. And you can see here it has like tap to pay, card reader, so you would activate the card reader. You would have different payment links. I think you can add also PayPal and other stuff in here. They recently added the payment link, so I haven't really explored it yet, or cash. I tend to track my cash also on SumUp, because if you click on cash and go next, you can enter the amount that people pay. So let's say the sticker is €1, but they pay €50, then it shows you how much change you have to give back. And I must say that that's like the most handy thing that you have when the convention is already like in the 2nd or 3rd day of going and your brain is completely fried. Having a calculator already integrated in to show you how much to give in change is a lifesaver. Yeah, you can track that, or you can just do like via card reader. They connect via to the app via how do you call it? Via Bluetooth. So you have one. So this is like the old one, the SumUp Air, and then you have, this is my newest one, which is a bit more fancy, which is the SumUp Solo. And the differences between them are that SumUp Air, so this one, is cheap compared to this one. I think this one is under $100. This one is like $300 or $400, so it's quite a bit of a difference. You can pretty much do everything with both of them. The library that I was showing is the same on both of them because you access it via the same app. The only difference is that this one always requires a phone to connect. So you can only just use the internet that's on your phone, and if you are bound to very bad internet, this one is going to be very slow. And it happened to one of the biggest convention. We were working like with 2 phones and this one, and my phone didn't work. It stopped working. My internet was out, nothing was working. I couldn't accept payments, so everything crashed pretty much on my phone. And then I invested into this one, the Solo, which they say that it has integrated internet and it doesn't need a phone, blah blah blah. But yes, it has a connection that you can connect via Wi-Fi, mobile data, and Bluetooth. So, but if you want to access the library, you can only do it via Bluetooth. So, or via Wi-Fi if you set up Wi-Fi with your own phone. Or let's say if but in case that something goes wrong at the convention, you would still be able to just enter the amount that people have to pay in without using the library. So then you cannot access the library, but you can just enter like, oh, they're paying 50, they have to pay €1 for the sticker, if we take the example, and this one can check you out without with its own mobile connection. Luckily, we didn't have to use that yet. My phone was working well, nothing went bad, but I'm still like keeping both of them with me all the time. So the plus and the minus of each is, so the plus, this one uses very little battery. I charge it in 3 days of convention, I maybe charge it once just as a precaution during the night, but normally it doesn't need charges for 3 days. It can stay pretty much a long time. This one has a bigger screen. It does have a sleep mode, which doesn't help that much, but this one is pretty much always hooked up to a power bank because it goes pretty quickly. The battery drains crazy, like it charges quite quickly, so that's not really an issue. It charged in 40 minutes, like from 0 to 92%, so with that is okay. And this one also uses USB-C. This one uses the old USB. You can see. So this is USB 2. This is USB 3. C. Yeah, this one can work independently with its own internet connection via SumUp if your phone doesn't work or whatever happens. Yeah, and it's more expensive. So the battery is a bit crappier, it's more expensive, but it works really well if you don't have internet connection. And this one is really great for starters, it's very cheap. It requires connection to the phone, but it's very efficient otherwise. So I still like to use both. So, what am I doing? And they do have, I don't have the stand for the small one, but they both come with its own stand, so you can just click it in, and it's just like an L stand, and people can access it easier. The small stand for this one, I have it in the suitcase all the time, so I didn't bring it up. But this is about the payment systems and their plus and minuses. So let's shut down now. They don't have to be open. And the thing that I mentioned before is they have a very handy library. You can add any items in with pictures. So this is for the library that I was showing before. You can create like a quick checkout library for you. And it's really great if you connect it to a tablet, for example. My tablet doesn't have internet, so it's useless. But if you have a tablet, you can have it at the table and just have this screen in big and just tap checkout, kind of like in the shop. And yeah, you can add the name, the picture, you can add multiple pictures. For me, then the important thing is the tax rate. And they also have their own online shop, but I haven't experimented with that, but you can add items to the shop. I like to put stuff in categories, so I can access them easier. You can change the color of the category or the tab. You can add barcodes, variations, and everything if you have a more advanced tracking system. But yeah, I normally just put variations. Like if I have a sale, I tend to put it as a variation, so we can just tap and check out quicker. And if not, we just have like each per items, like a small button, big button, like small plushie, big plushie, a blob, a keychain, and so on. So it's a very nifty device when it comes to that, and a lot of artists use it because it's yeah, as I mentioned, like it doesn't have any monthly fees. You only pay per use or per transaction, 1% and 1.5%. How much was it? 1.5% rate per transaction, which on the scale of everything is not that that big of a issue. So yeah, this is about my payment systems and things that I use. So we're gonna go further to the table setup category. This is also like one of the most requested thing about my setups. So how long does the table setup usually take? This depends on your setup and how big the table is and how you planned. For me, if I have only one table, my record was 5.5 hours. So in order to make one table, which is where is it? Which is this. This is one table, so it's how much is this? Like 4 feet. I think this is 4 feet. So this is this takes me 5 hours to build. Like I tend to start off with I have a different category here. So build table, there we go. You start with a plain table. This was in Luxembourg, so this is how the tables normally look like, roughly. They're not always all the same, they tend to be different, and different measurements as well, so you always have to check in the brochure, or when you're invited to a convention they give you like an exhibitor list. Always check the size of the table, it's gonna help a lot. And then I built like the basic armature, put all the stand thingies on, and then I populate it with plushies, add the prices and other things. And of course you need a cover, because if you leave stuff on during the night, then it's definitely needed. Or if I have a 2-table setup, then it takes me about 9 hours plus like an entire day of just building. And normally if I have 2 tables, I have at least one person helping. I try to bring at least one person to help. And they're already trained in the table setup, because they've been with me a long time already building the table. So I made like diagrams last time about table building. But yeah, I'm busy a long time. So this table I built, I think it was 12 hours. I was alone on this one. This was the Komi last year, 2 years ago. So you have different setups as well. Like here I arrived, I had 1 table booked, but then when I arrived to the convention they gave me an extra, like I was on a corner, they gave me an extra table, but I didn't have enough items to put there, so I just put the banner there and like an empty thing just to kind of fill it up. It was a bit of an unexpected thing. Like there is a lot of unexpected things happening when you're building tables, so make sure to leave some room for that. But yeah, if you have a simpler setup of just, let's say, putting some crates up or putting some baskets up, and you don't have all these building things and rotating towers and stuff, then you might be very quickly into 2 to 4 hours. You might be able to already finish your table setup. But if you're like me and really like take a long time, then yeah, it's gonna be rough. So some conventions also have a time limit on how much you can, or how long you can build. Some allow, like I have a convention coming up in October, I believe, that is only 1-day convention. So I only have 2 hours in the morning to build, which means I will not be able to build anything big. I'm gonna be taking probably just a couple of baskets, a couple of yeah, small items, maybe a rotating tower if it really fits, but I will be taking a lot of like stickers and smaller stuff to fill the table with. It's also my first time at that convention, so I'll bring a lot of small items and not spend too much time building, but just drop everything on the table and see how it goes. So always check what's the time limit, if there is any. Normally almost every convention gives you time to build a day before the convention, which if you need like 8 hours or 9 hours to build like me, then yeah, you're gonna need it. So I tend to always book like 1 day of travel, so I drive 1 day building and then 2 or 3 days convention, and on the last day you just build down. So yeah, this is how long it takes to build a table. It's practically a full day job to really do it. What I would suggest is, if you before you do the thing and the prep, just how do I call it? Just write, like make graphics, write things down, just everything. You can experiment with everything and just maybe make some graphics, like anything that helps you out so you can build faster later. It's a big help. So have you experimented with different color schemes for your tables? What worked and what didn't, and why? So I must say that I haven't experimented a lot. I started off like I showed before. This was my first convention table. I started off with practically no setup. I I got this very ugly tablecloth from like a local supermarket. It was on sale. I thought like, oh, I like green, I'm just gonna do it green. So this is what I started with, and as you can see, it was coordinated in green because it's my favorite color. And what I noticed is that my things don't really pop. It's like too blended in, especially if I had like here a green plushie, you couldn't really see it much. I had the squiddies and some fan art on this side and plushies on this side, and rest was like hand painted items and shrink keychains and stuff like that. So it wasn't really working well setup wise and color wise. Everything got blended in too much. But I was really like, back then I still had, as a logo, I had a green dragon, which was Manu, holding a flower. I do not have anything here with that logo, sadly. But yeah, this was my first convention table, and I wanted to have everything green, so I started with green. And then after, this was the second convention, which was the biggest one in Belgium. So this one I started like making business cards. I had proper business cards, and I really liked like the combination of purple and green. So back then I still had the same logo, I believe, with Manu, but I started noticing when I started making business cards that my logo didn't really fit well. It only fit in a circle, but then I had to scale it too far down. And then I decided to just redesign and make my current Dragon Wings logo, which fits everywhere. And then I decided to coordinate everything to that logo. So go with, so this is how my table looked like before. So this was way better combination. As you can see, you can see the plushies way more than here. So it was already a big color upgrade to just choose a more like less pattern on the fabric and keep it just one solid color. That helped a lot by popping things out, and having contrasting colors helped as well. Like having green on purple helped. Having green on green is a bit I mean, it can differentiate you from the competition. Definitely this table was standing out from everybody, so that's a big bonus. But I try to like keep it more neutral and not so busy, because I noticed that works well. So if you have any patterned tablecloth also, it might not be ideal because it might hide some of the products, especially if you just have them spread out on the table. And this is how my setup looks now. I try to incorporate the logo images and my webpage images and or my webpage, and I mixed it with white because that fits my brand. Like my website is also like the base color is white, and then I have like blue and purple as accents, and as you can see, like the plushies really pop well. So a lot of people tend to do, like if you say here at the neighbors, they tend to do a lot with black as the base color. And I must say, black looks really wonderful. Oh, you can see here a little bit as well from the neighbor over there. But black works really well, especially if you have, let's say, if you put fairy lights, or if you have really nice prints or plushies, colorful plushies. Black works fantastic, and that's something like black wouldn't really fit with my brand, so I keep it white. But if I would put fairy lights on a white background, you wouldn't be able to see anything unless it's very dark. But if you would have let's say for example here as well, this neighbor, black thing, like things on black background pop very, very well. On the white background, in comparison, not that much. But yeah, you can see here the difference. Her buttons really stand out, and she painted the frame green, which is amazing. But white doesn't stand out that much, but it's more fitting my brand. So yeah, this is a bit on the color. Do whatever fits your brand, I would say. That's the most important thing. But yeah, just choose a base color and then build on there, because you're gonna probably have a lot of plushies or a lot of other items that are super colorful. So choosing some neutral color like black, white, gray, maybe even like a nice pastel as a general color in the back, that would work well. And then you just put like some other colors within your brand as accent. Like I use, for example, most of my setup or things is blue or purple, and the rest I try and keep white. So yeah, I matched my things to the brand colors and never looked back. So table setup recommendations, hacks, and DIY. So as I mentioned before, the most important thing is to have table plans. Make it like, I don't know if I can see, give me just a moment. I'm gonna be right back because I noticed that there is a bit too much noise there. Be right back. Okay, sorry about that. It was just very noisy. I had to ask my boyfriend to put the sound down. So what I was saying about the table setup and recommendations, the most important thing is to prepare table plans, make like little graphics, or make, I don't think I have it anymore. I used to like prepare everything in Photoshop or Illustrator, really like draw it out and figure out like, oh, this thing is so big, this thing is so big, like make a mock-up. I did, I think I did a lot on Patreon as well, like table tests of seeing how many items fit somewhere. There, I had here, for example, I can show it like this. I literally built a convention table in my room to see how many items fit. I could play with the setup, see how to put things up. I believe I used this also for one of the like stay-at-home conventions when there was Corona, so I built this in the back to have at my table. But you can really like play with things around and see how you're gonna set it up, because once you're at the convention and can set up, it's just like be quick, be quick, be quick, and you don't really have time to improvise or redo things unless you're really a seasoned person that built already so many tables and can just whip something out from your head, but that's very hard. So yeah, just make sure that you build things and are able to prepare upfront, and that you know exactly what you're gonna be building. Making mock-ups, it's perfect. Drawing the table out is perfect. So I like to check the measurements of the table. I check how much each display needs, how much the gacha machine needs. If you need extra space, you can always bring like an extra table, or just build creatively a bit around, like add a box, cover it up with a tablecloth, and you have a little bit of a table extension. If you have very lovely neighbors, we like to build bridges. So let's say there is kind of like here on the picture, you see like my table ends here. Let's say a neighbor's table would start here, but then it's a gap in the middle. And you can just put like a little, I don't know, like a plate or like a box or whatever, and cover it with a tablecloth, bridge the gap, and you can both put something else there, you know, or just extend your display a little bit. Like every little bit helps, and if you make nice connections with the neighbors, then you can build literal bridges and just share that bridge together. So yeah, the important thing is to build things vertically. That's something that I cannot stress enough. You will never have enough place on the table. It's gonna be a lot of things that is gonna take a lot of space, like here, for example. Let's say if I would have one table, I cannot really build a lot. I could build this much, just make like plushies, but if I have a lot of stickers, then I cannot really bring extra things because of this, and then I don't want to compromise, I want to put everything on, so building vertically helps. I built a couple of these boxes, or sometimes I even use crates. I think there is like a view here, for example. I use 2 of the white crates to prop things up. The more you can prop things up, the better. So here as well, like I try to build kind of high up, like even above the tower. Sometimes I tend to, oh, this is a different view. So sometimes I tend to build like very high up to have place on top. I do not know if I have, oh, what's happening? It's a motion picture. Sometimes I have like things that where are the tables? So building up, you can see the difference here as well. Like this was everything down, so it looks very crowded. But here I built up, and then I already had more space here to put extra stuff, business cards, give it a bit of space to breathe. So like just in comparison, like this was very like one story, let's say one grid cube up, and now I really build like 3-4 grids up, which makes a big difference with how much stock you can put on tables. I tend to do, you can see a bit here, I tend to bring my own little table for the gacha, and then I put the gacha and I build on top of the gacha, so I extend my display this way, and then it's propped on top of the gacha, and I make extra space on top to put sewing kits, for example. So if you build vertically, then there are a lot of tricks like that that you can do and test out. Like this one was pretty spread out. I did have a couple of big things, but I built kind of like steps down instead. So anything vertical, it's a big plus. Like, yeah. So that's one of the biggest tips that I can give you. Vertical build and prepare mock-ups. But one thing that it is, if you build vertically, make sure that you also think about accessibility. We have, for example, let's say if I take this picture, we had a couple of keychains on the bottom just to repeat it, because people that are in a wheelchair or kids or so, they don't always see the top parts. So we tend to, like with the buttons or so, see we have here a Gengar button, but there is a Gengar button also here on the bottom, or Snorlax button here, Snorlax button there. So we just tend to spread out things, which makes it look like there's more on the table, but also people are able to reach and grab stuff themselves. Like for these stickers on top, I normally have to help people and grab stuff out, but these stickers that are right in front of them, they're able to just pick out themselves. So it's keep in mind that you have to keep things accessible also for people that are not able to reach that high up. That's also the reason why I have like the gacha sometimes I put on the floor, so people that are closer down, they can reach. Big plushies, I put like here, for example, all the big weighted plushies were on top, and you can see my my thing kind of weighing down. See, they are all on top, but I put a couple of them also on the table, so people that come by, just passing by, or kids, they are still able to feel the weight and see them happen. Also here, like this was a bit sold out already, but I kept a couple of plushies here so people would see them a bit more high, and a couple of plushies here on the bottom so they would be able to touch them and grab them. So that's an important tip as well. Mind the accessibility, so wheelchair bound people or kids or anybody would be able to see things too. So for the display themselves, I really stand by and recommend a lot of collapsible things. I don't know how they're called. Like collapsible crates, they are fantastic. You can just build them out. If you sell prints, for example, you can just leave this in. So if I have like, let me see, do I have some here? Yes. So if I have This, for example, there are not that many, so I'll just put it here. And I put them like this. You can still see the front. If I would put them in the crate like this, you wouldn't be able to see it, but yeah, you can leave the fronts open. If you're a bit crafty, you can even get this out. So they're all connected together with little, I don't know what they're this, like hinges, gussets, like it's just a click mechanism, like you can click it in, you can click it out, you can even remove this part. So let's say you want a crate to sell prints, so you can put some stuff like this, you can do that as well. You can remove this completely or just keep it open. They're very, very handy for anything. They arrive, or they come in different formats. I have this small format, so I have multiple ones in small format. What I tend to do with them is, if I have the grids where the plushies are linked, or where the plushies are staying, I tend to use these ones as little stairs for them. So I would have a couple of plushies on top of them, a couple of plushies in front of them to give it a bit more of a steps feeling. And they're great also if you want to like connect them together. You can connect them together and use them as like little shelves, let's say. As I said, like they come in different sizes. You have the tiny ones, you have the middle ones, which are perfect for any plushies as well. So these ones I use for blobs sometimes. These ones I use for regular plushies. And there is also a big version, which is kind of like double of this one, so like this, which I use like as a crate to prop some displays up, or rotating things, or just yeah, plushies. Like they're very, very handy. They go down flat, so you just click things in on both sides, and you can see this one is a bit different. They go flat, and the handy thing is you can stack them as well. They are stackable. They have little notches. There we go. So they don't really move. You can stack them. The small ones are also stackable. This one is not the same model, but they should be able to stack like on the little notches, so you can have like, say, just build stairs, build things up. They come in variety of colors, they come in variety of sizes. They're very handy if you have to travel. I keep them, as I said, like small ones I tend to or put blobs in, or small plushies, or I tend to just use them as little stairs for plushies, because let's say the micro dragons, they fit exactly on, and then a little plushie here, a little plushie here, and I can just stack them up. And oh, his tail is a bit big. Or yeah, as I said, like you can build little crates. You can even put them like this, cover them with a tablecloth, put stuff up, you know. You can have like one like this, one like that, and just stack them up as stairs. So they are very, very handy for anything. You can keep stock in them. You can just have them as a makeshift, like for example with gacha balls. I tend to use 2 of them for the gacha balls to keep next to the gacha. When people open the ball, they can put them back, and then I just take a crate, empty it into a box or into a bag behind the table and put it back, you know. It's like they're very multifunctional. You can use them really for anything. And I think I have a couple of pictures here as well of the table. So yeah, these crates, if I really go scroll down my table, I use them everywhere. Like, oh, you can see here, for example. I use them here for the gacha. I had a couple of things here. You cannot really see, I think maybe at another table. Yeah, here under the dragons, there are little crates, so they create this thing. Here under the blobbies are little crates, so they create steps as well. So those are very, very handy. Oh, what happened here? There we go. Oh, these are a bit different ones. Here, look. I had these crates. I just kept them like this, collapsed, and propped some dragons on top to create just a little bit of a lift. No, not too much, but enough to be able to see things. Next thing that I really like is this kind of containers, or like lipstick or gel lock things. So I use it mostly for stickers or pins or some small items. They fit a lot of stickers in. They fit a lot of other items. Like I tend to, on a small convention, bring a bit less stickers. So I have like the mystery packs on top, stickers here, some fan art stickers towards the bottom, and then I have pins and clips and other stuff here. So they are very handy for multiple things. You can have these ones here are with screws, so you can just screw it together. Some of the newer ones that I have like this, they're just like a click mechanism, so I just click, click, click in, done. So it's really, really handy. And yeah, they fit many stickers. These are about 1 inch stickers, 1.5 inch stickers, and they fit like 4 or 5 in a row. If you have like little pins or so, they fit 5 in a row as well. So very, very handy. They also work like this small one, for example. I used to have them sometimes for prints. So I had like A5 or A6 prints or mystery packs and other stuff. They work very, very well. And you can just collapse them all flat and you can go on your way. So these are some of the newer steps that I have. So I have 2 types of steps. Ones are this, which are wooden ones, which is this here on the bottom. They are really great, but I need to always cover them up with things. But yeah, and they don't really fit my brand. I meant to repaint them, but I never got to it. But they're great. They even have notches, so you can put stickers or cards or other things in it. So like you see here, like you can just put things in, like it will hold it really well. So but I tend to use this for plushies, just make little steps. And as I mentioned, like, where am I going? This acrylic one is the newest one I had. My worker gifted it to me because she didn't end up using it. And now I use it like for dragons here on top, for example. Instead of doing the crates, I just put one of the acrylic stands, and that works great for me as well. I ordered way more of them, so now most of the plushies that I have on my newer table are just propped up. Oh, here weren't yet. It was more on the newer tables. Here was all the old ones yet. So here you can see the little blobbies in the crates as well. So they really fit well, and they're presented nicely. So they kind of look like, oh, adopt me. Okay, so the next thing that I have is a lot of this type of baskets. So either baskets or crates, they work well. This basket is like a bread basket, which is very soft, and I can just squish it together. It's been with me for 5 years and it's still okay, but definitely crates work way nicer. If you have like a must-have is also a grid display. Not necessarily a must-have, but it definitely makes it easier to build things up. You have like the version that's like with without the grid, just like a little PVC plastic cover like this, or the grids. The plus and minus of each is, yeah, the plus for this one is you can glue stuff on, you can present things nicely, so it's perfect like for prices, for if you want to put a banner on or something like that, it's great. And these ones are great if you want to put some hooks, like I had a picture here like this. I have some of these hooks. Let's see. So these hooks that you can just put on and you can hang stuff, like it's also good for keychains or some other things. I bought most of this stuff just at the like the grids I ordered online. You can find them on Amazon or anywhere. You just look for a grid display or a modular grid, modular display, something like that. And these little things I just picked up at the regular, like through the years. I gathered them from different kitchen shops, like kitchen shop in town. We have a shop that sells like little things like this for kitchens, and this was like a thing that you can just hang and put ladles and other things on. So that's very handy if you want to have things to add to the grid. I have, let's see. You can also DIY stuff yourself. This was this was like another keychain or earring holder. I just put screws through it, through the holes, and hanged keychains. So I just multi-purpose thing. I had this one, which is like an L-shaped frame, like a picture frame, acrylic, and I just put some hooks on and then hanged keychains, which was very simple and yeah, nothing special, and it worked really well for many years. At certain conventions I even put, I think, yeah, at this convention I even put like a white paper behind, because I noticed, oh, it actually looks better if there is something behind. I used to have like picture frames like this, that I could just put prints and like plaques and stuff that I was doing, or cards. It works really well for that. I used every single jewelry thing, or this is like these squiddies were like a spice rack things, like anything that you can find from the kitchen store, or crates or things you can use, like anything compact. I really love this rotating display. This one I got from Amazon, which is like a 3-tier, but you can also take a couple of them out and just have 2, for example. Rotating display, I use it for keychains, and yeah, whatever I can fit. So I used to have acrylic keychains on them, but then acrylic keychains I moved to another place, and I use it now occasionally for plushies, like plushie keychains. I was even a bit crafty, so I built myself a like a rotating tower. So now I can put hooks and other stuff to build things up. So now I don't use these rotating displays anymore. Just sometimes if I have a really large table and I need to fit more of the items, then I use it for plushie keychains, and if not, I just put them in on my tower. So I just build it myself in such a way that I can use a lot of this sort of wire baskets and other things that I can just travel a bit more compact. I am looking to, for example, instead of those baskets, oh wait, I've been showing stuff but not showing stuff, I'm sorry. So let's see, let me backpedal. So what I was saying is, yeah, this is the stuff that I was DIYing myself, that I was talking about, the little frame with taped on hooks. I think right now you can even buy command hooks and do things like that. And this squiddies was a spice rack. Where did I have them? Here. So you can see here like the picture frame, like that, those L or U-shaped picture frames. I just painted it purple, put stuff on. Yeah, here is the other frame now with the blank paper in the back. Here are some racks from jewelry and keychain holders, earrings holders, like I used everything. This is a spice rack where my squiddies were. So anything that you can find. Yeah, so here I was showing like this is my current rotating tower, which I can just reposition the hooks and stuff. It took me so long to make, and I'm very proud of it, but it's such a hassle to set up because it takes at least 2 hours to put all the hooks in. And this is the rotating display for for the keychains that I was talking about. So this one is very handy for a lot of things, so I would definitely recommend to get something like this. And it also you can take it apart and it goes flat, so that's one thing that's very important to me. Anything that I can make flat, it's a big go for the conventions. So this one and crates and you're golden. You don't really need much more things. So what I wanted to say is I'm looking, instead of these wire baskets, to be able to put these crates on the rotating tower, because they are collapsible and the wire baskets are very tedious to keep taking with me. So these are all type of displays that I use. So I'm just gonna go scroll through them again. So these are my sticker displays or cards display or whatever flat or paper items display. They work really great. This is my acrylic stairs that I use. Baskets, a lot of baskets. This is the thing that I was talking about before, like little hooks that I can just put on. This was my old display. The grids, so the two types of grids, you practically just connect them with connectors and you're good to go. You can decorate them, you can put stuff on, you can, yeah, on this one I even put, I used to have in the past like a setup here that I put zip ties through. So this is just cardboard on top with a bit of a vinyl contact paper in the marble thingy. And I put zip ties through, and then I hooked keychains on, so it used to double as a keychain display. Now I just used it like to cover the cage area to make it a bit more neat. So yeah, use anything that you can find. What's happening there? Use anything like baskets, anything that you can find in DIY shops, in Amazon, from China, like a lot of things you can just DIY for yourself. So this is you can use our crates for everything. Like now that I don't have a convention, I use these crates. Like here behind me we have like little shelves that I put plushies in or work in progress. I have all these crates like in my closet, everything like just sorted out in my drawers. So you can definitely use them for multiple things. Here I have mystery packs in the big crates I use to prop up things. Here I have another little stool to prop up the baskets, like just anything you can prop up to make things vertical, but that is also collapsible is way better. Like these not the baskets, these two crates are fantastic. I love them, but I cannot really take them with me all the time because they are so chunky. Yeah, sure, this is a little bit how things go, so you can see the setup and how I position everything. I'm not sure why things are going weirdly. So with these grids you can really play around, and I even found, like you can see here, the little blobbies on the side. This is what I found in the kitchen store. Like it's a corner shelf or so, I'm not sure what you call it, but this all goes out. You can prop it here in. Oops. You can put it back, and you have like a little corner stand. I covered mine with tablecloth and I put like blobbies here on top, so I had like extra space in the corner to place a few blobbies. I have two of those. One I use here on top on my shelf to put some plushies and prop them up. But yeah, you can use a lot of things like that. And on the grid display you can put baskets, you can put many different things. You can see my crates, even notepads fit into the crates, mystery bags fit. So I don't have to always take everything with me. Normally with crates I can just fit everything everywhere. Yeah, so this is a little bit of what I would recommend setup wise. Get a lot of crates. Okay, let me not sidetrack too much. So use collapsible equipment, crates, makeup organizers, kitchen items, but always also leave room for improvisation. As I mentioned before, like not all tables are the same. Sometimes you're gonna have to improvise and build differently. Like there was plenty times that I figured out, oh, my gacha doesn't fit under the table, so I cannot build that shelf up. So I had to improvise and just take the top of the gacha off and just DIY sew a little cushion to put it up. There was plenty times that I had to like completely cut up my tablecloth because I didn't have enough to cover something. So now I use all those cuttings to just put into crates. So then when I put plushies and so they don't sink into the crate, but I have like a little stuffing and stuff, so they would be on top. Just try and reuse boxes and any other things you bring with you. Let's say if you put everything in a nice plastic box to take with you, you can always cover that plastic box once you unload everything with a tablecloth and put stuff up, you know. You don't have to per se bring extra equipment. You can just use whatever box you have with you to build stuff if you don't have a grid display, for example. So you can always just try things out and then expand your setup once you figure out more how you want to build and what works and what doesn't. So don't be afraid to just experiment and use whatever you have at your disposal. That was quite a long one. So next question is a good way to display different products I have. I'd love some tips and tricks for mobile displays if you have any. So as I mentioned, like I cannot stress this enough, collapsible crates, they're great for anything. You can hook them up together with some zip ties. Let's say you can even build like a grid display of just these crates, which works great. You can use them as stands, you can use them as baskets, you can use them for anything. Like I cannot stress this enough. Get your hands on crates. Like I have, I think, about 20 of these crates. I just every time I see it in the shop and I see it in purple, then I'm like, oh, I haven't seen a purple one in a long time, let me just grab an extra one, you know, just in case one breaks. I always have more crates. So wooden stairs, like I shown before, they are completely let me get the thing again. They are completely collapsible. So you take practically, this is like two kind of like A-shaped things that you can open or close, and then you just prop the shelves in. They are very nice for to keep stickers, to keep like kind of like things on cards, like if you have keychains or pins or so. They keep really well. You can cover it in tablecloth like I do, and use them for plushies, for example. So they're also quite multifunctional for that. Another thing that I started noticing more and more is the IKEA pegboard. So this pegboard that I have behind me, they have a lot of tools for them and elastics and stuff, and I noticed more and more people getting those pegboards because you can find like a little mount that you can make it stand. So it's a standing thing. Let me see if I can grab a picture. There we go. Yes. So it's called Scadis. I'm just gonna open here an IKEA account thingy. So you can see it here. This is how the pegboard looks like. And you can find these little mounts that you can put it just standing like this. And so this is how the mount looks like. It's like a double-sided thing. I noticed a lot of people bringing them, and because you can put like clips, and you can put shelves, and you can put like this. I think there we go. And that's the best that I can do. So you can put a lot of these tiny type of things on. So people are using them as a table setup. So you can see here you have like a lot of holders and a lot of shelves and a lot of pins and all sorts of things, even elastics. A friend of mine uses these little elastics to hook her keychains on, for example. So she has like a sample keychains that people can look at and turn, and she just hooks them on these elastics, and it works great. So I've seen a lot of these pegboards as well being used as convention stuff. For me, they're a little bit too bulky still, and they take a lot of space, but you can have different sizes as well, so it doesn't have to be too big. But that's also a good setup for a convention. Like this one, I think, is the smallest one that they have, which fits kind of like this on the side of the table. So you can, instead of, for example, using the grid cubes, you can just put one of these pegboards and people can still choose and see things. So that's a nice one as well. So the grid cubes, they're the most used because they are nice and compact. You can build them up quite quickly and you can decorate them. You can put hooks and all the stuff, as I said, like wire baskets, this type of things on, just regular singular hooks like in the shop, you know. So that's a lot of things that you can do with them. I used them last convention even to bridge the gap between the tables, because I had like this kind of a gap between the table. I put a couple of those grids and just clamped them down with the clamps, put tablecloth and put a couple of this type of baskets on, like just something light, and it worked well as a bridge as well. So yeah, so they're very versatile, very nice. For even more compact displays, what you can do as well is what I was saying, like before. Let me see, where did I put the picture? So yes, this display that I created for this, what you can do also is get a vinyl banner printed and attach a couple of command hooks on it. Like if you want to display a keychain, and you can just get like a frame, let's say, printed on a vinyl banner, put the hooks, maybe even like with space for prices, and then you can just roll it up, and on the convention you can just roll it out and attach it to the grid display. I've seen a couple of people doing that as well a lot, and it works very well. So you have like yeah, kind of like this, like I attached my prices on. Let's say you would put a couple of command hooks on this and display my keychains. So that's also an option. Then it would kind of look like this on, but it would be on a vinyl banner that you can just take off and roll up, and you don't have that much extra space to have a display for, let's say, plushie keychains or regular keychains or whatever other small merch. So it works really great. Yeah, that would work as well. Let me think. So, but yeah, if you aren't afraid of doing some DIY, you can always make like a certain setup yourself, like rotating towers, like I said, that I built. That was quite an endeavor, but it worked really well for me. I can make them completely flat. I have a second rotating tower now that I had on the biggest convention, and Dokomi, and they work both really great. People love spinning them, and I can just yeah, put different hooks, different baskets on them, and it's just a quick setup that is versatile and I can take with me. So I think this is as much as I can think of a mobile display. The rest is just if you let's say get some grids together, kind of like a harmonica thing, and just do a couple that you can just extend and have a setup that works as well. So yeah, baskets. Okay, we are now at the final part of the questions, which goes over success and failure. So the question that came up was, at what point of profit would you consider an event a success or a failure? So for me, conventions are not always successful in the first moment. So I see them more as a longer term investment, if that makes sense. So they always pay up in long term, because not everybody might buy from me now, but they might take a business card and come back later and ask for a commission or a shop, like a shop update or something else online. So you cannot always predict a success from a convention just from the earnings. And I try to not focus too much on the profits in that way. So what I like to keep in mind, or as a goal, is always nice to have your table back. So the cost of your table, use that as a good goal. So if your table costs $100 and you bring, let's say, $200 or $300 worth of stock, and you earn $100 back, it's a successful convention, because you got your cost of the table back. And if you, let's say, if you travel and you spend $50 on gas, so your cost would be $100 table, $50 gas, then your total cost would be $150, let's say $170, because you also have to eat. Then if you earn like $300, that's a very successful convention, because you got your cost back, but you also have a little bonus that you can invest into the next convention. So yeah, I like to keep that as a guideline. Like, if I have my table back, I'm good. Like, I don't need much more. I mean, technically I need more, because I need to pay my worker, for example, so I need to calculate her salary into my costs as well. But if you're just alone, or if you have a volunteer working at your table, then just table costs, that's your goal. So as I said, like, I try not to focus too much on the profits at the first or a second time convention, because some conventions still need kind of to find their identity, and they need to grow. Some conventions are just starting out, they don't really do things well, so there's room for improvement for the next edition. And the thing is, like, if the convention grows very fast, it's also nice to grow with it. There is, for example, Dutch Comic Con. It grew very fast. It's the biggest convention. It's the best convention for all the artists that go there. But it's so busy, and because we are doing it for so many years already, we get priority on rebooking it. So if you go there to build your table, you can already rebook for the next table, for the next convention, for the next edition, which means that all the tables are already booked. So any new artist that's trying to get into the mix and try to come as an exhibitor to Dutch Comic Con, it's impossible to get in, because everything is already full from the get-go. So it's always nice to grow with the convention, because you have more chances to stick with that convention if it's successful. If you drop out one time, might not be too big of a deal. They would still remember you the year after. But if you really like do a convention once and then you say like, oh, I'm not gonna do it for 3 years, and then in 5 years you go again, they're not gonna remember you anymore, so it's a chance that you won't get in. You know, it depends per convention, really. But the thing for me, it's like, it's more valuable to connect with people and connect with fans than it is about the money. So it really, like, if you get your table back, if you spend, if you give out a lot of business cards, if you make new friends, if you make new potential customers that are gonna come to you for commissions, that's all worth way more than just the initial bump in having like gastronomical sales. Like, a lot of artists at the convention tend to compare each other's profits, which I find very, very uncomfortable, because each artist has a different cost. For example, a friend of mine, we tend to compare our earnings just for fun, not in a serious way, but kind of like a challenge, you know. Oh, I made this much and I got almost my table back. And then she would say like, oh, but I already got my table back. So I'm like, oh, Snoop, now I need to really hurry in the next hour to get my table back, you know, kind of like a friendly challenge, not in a serious way, but just like we are overplaying it just to keep our morale high. So it's just like a lot of artists just come to your table and it's like, oh, did you earn a lot, you know? And it's like, yeah, what is a lot? Like, I have a lot of costs, which means that I have to earn a lot. But if I say to you like, oh, I made 3 times my table back, and you would be feeling really crappy because you didn't even make your table back yet, you know? So it makes you feel really uncomfortable if you are boasting around of, oh, I made this much, or oh, I didn't make enough. So you're kind of like a downer for the community. So yeah, it really depends on your goals. Keep your goals small. Just make your table back as a goal, as a first goal, and that's already enough. And just focus on the experience first. So how many chances do you give events before you write them off? So this really depends on the organization, the atmosphere, and the people that come by. Some conventions, like for me, Gameforce, for example, they are centered more towards gamers, and you see a lot of people that are like really hardcore gamers that play shooter games, and not that much gamers that play cozy games, for example. So nobody really wants the cutesy Pokemon type of plushie thing, so it's not really my audience. I did 2 editions with them, and on the last one, on the first one I broke even, and on the last one I actually had a loss of about 200 euro, which that wasn't the reason why I didn't return to it, but it's really not my audience, so I struggle, and it was a lot of downtime as well. The organization was fine, but it was really like a lot of downtime, and it was kind of boring. So I thought like, yeah, I might as well go to a convention that's a little bit more focused on people that come to buy my products. So I decided to not return this year. Maybe I'll return next year, or maybe I'll do the edition in Belgium, who knows. It's like it's not I tend to just see how it is. Like I also had a loss when I went to Luxembourg. I had it was very far away for me driving wise, and a lot of travel costs, but I just decided not to return because after 1 edition, because yeah, I just didn't want to go alone and drive for so long, even though they were trying to get me back and gave me 50% off the table price, which was already very low, but they even dropped the price by 50% for the table if I would return. But the costs of, or not even the cost, but just the mental effort of driving there for 8 hours was a bit too much for me to return this year. And for example, in Belgium, conventions used to go very well for me, and I got my table back 3, 4, 5, 6 times with all the costs. But I'm still thinking like, yeah, it's kind of like the same audience that comes to one of the Japan themed Dutch convention, so I could just cut out the driving time and the hotel time and have less costs and just go to the Dutch convention instead, because it's half an hour away from my home, you know. So it really like depends on how to do. And the thing is also like, even if a convention might not be completely successful profit-wise, you can always make good connections. Like in Luxembourg, for example, there was a lady with a French shop that came at the end of the convention and said, I really love your stuff. I want to buy stuff of your table to sell in my shop. Can you please do wholesale? So now she still regularly orders like buttons and stickers and keychains from me to sell in her shop in France. So you can find some of the products in France in this comic shop, for example. So having connections like this and doing a lot of networking is definitely a good experience to have. Like meeting new people, meeting other artist friends, getting tips from them, that's way more valuable. And also just putting yourself out there and train yourself to to be behind the table and sell and promote your work is way more valuable sometimes than just earning $50 extra, you know. So that's what I try to focus on. Did you have any bad experiences with the organization? Luckily I haven't. I always get along quite well with the organization. I mean, some of them, we have like a representative that gives you all the information, sends you all the emails, and you can come in for any questions. They are quite slow at replying most of the time, or if they're even there, so it's not really, I don't have too much contact with the organization. The only thing that I had sometimes is like an annoyance where I pay for a premium table, but they give me a table where there's a pillar in the middle, for example, so I cannot really build how I want. I have to improvise. I have a pillar in the middle, like I had this at the last Dutch Comic Con, for example, and they just didn't care. Like I paid so much for a premium table and I had a pillar, so I ended up using it creatively with putting the gacha machine there and making like little little swing for the gacha stuff, but for the rest they didn't really care that there was that. I made it work. I sent in my complaints later and just said like, yeah, at least inform people that have a table with a pillar that there is a pillar so you can prepare, or just make sure that there is no pillar in the middle of the table, because you cannot really build around it and people would be bumping in the pillar instead of going to your table, you know. So and yeah, I always make sure to fill in the feedback forms or contact my representative if I'm not happy with something. But I must say that I haven't really had any experiences with the showrunners or the organization in general. I did hear a lot of stories of bad experiences, but I wasn't, I luckily didn't have it firsthand. So the last question, and I think the most important one that a lot of you want to hear, is how to deal with difficult customers. Remarks like, your table is for kids, or this is too expensive. How do you deal with them? So I do still have, do still get a lot of remarks on my items, especially about the prices. Normally I just learn to ignore it with time. I don't take it personally, and I just respond with a smile or just say something positive back, you know. And if they're really looking to have a conversation about it, I'm open to it. They can always do a comment and I will just reply something. But if I see that they're just commenting for the sake of commenting and rushing forward, then I just brush it off, you know. I kind of stopped trying to change their minds, because you can never change their mind. Like, they are set already in their ways that they're not gonna buy from you, so I'm not trying to convince them. So the things that I hear most often are like, oh my god, this is this much for a plushie, like, wow, what the heck, why is it so expensive, you know? Or I get like, oh, this is so overpriced, I can do it myself, or my cousin can do it better, you know? Like, or I would never spend this much, who the heck spends this much on a stuffed animal or on something so tiny? That's also a lot of things that I get. Or, this is way too childish, I have no idea who would even buy this. Like, you know, like a lot of comments like that are just people giving their opinion, being a little bit ignorant about things. Like, us as artists, we tend to really take things personally because it's your direct work there on the table, so it kind of feels like they're attacking you. But sometimes people just cannot help but speaking their mind, and that's okay, you know. Normally it's like, yeah, not everybody will love what you make, and not everybody needs to love what you make. It's like, they're just not your target audience. You just better move on, or let them move on. It's like, let them go shop at the merchandise area where they have like the official merchandise, for example. They don't need to shop handmade. So the most common replies that I would reply would be like, for example, if they say like, oh, why is it so much for a plushie? I would just say, like, I would try to explain to them how I make it, or like, even sometimes I'm sewing on my table and I just lift it up like, yeah, it's handmade, you know. Or I just say like, yeah, I spend a lot of time and I make everything by hand, and it's a lot of love in there. It's not like a manufactured thing. So that would be one of the replies, for example. Or if they would be like, oh, this is so overpriced, why is this so expensive? I would also say like, oh, if you go on this side of the table, I also have like lower priced items. I have keychains for $20. I have like like plush keychains for $20. I have stickers for €1. So if you like any of the designs that you see here as plushies and they're too expensive, you can shop at the stickers, for example. So just try to promote a different product that's at a lower price range. And if they're really saying like, oh, why is it something so small? Like if they see a micro dragon and it costs so much, and at the next table they can get like a super giant plushie for the same price, they're really like wondering like, yeah, why is it so tiny? Why is it so overpriced, you know? So I would just explain like, yeah, it's a very complex thing to make, and you get really cramped up doing it, and that's why everything that you see here is limited edition. It will not be made again, you know? So it's like I try to just explain to them why I do, like I don't try to justify my prices anymore. I used to be really like, yeah, but this, but that, but I just let it be. I just say like, yeah, I make it by hand, everything is handmade, everything is limited edition, that's why the price. So I just explain to them a bit about the process instead. I do get a lot of things like, oh, my daughter could do this better. So I would say like, yeah, I actually have a YouTube channel and I have some tips there. So she's welcome to just try things out. Or now I would just promote my sewing kits. I would say like, oh, really? Like, I would love to see it. I also have sewing kits, so you can do it yourself if you want to try, you know? And sometimes it works. Sometimes somebody even buys a sewing kit because they're really curious about how plushie making works, you know? So it's like, just try to make something positive out of it. It's yeah, like if somebody will say like, oh, this is too childish, or your table is so childish, who would even buy this? Then you can just reply with like, yeah, a lot of collectors around the world actually really love these cozy creations, and you'd be surprised how many people actually really love plushies, you know, and they use them for cuddling, they use them for companionship and stuff like that. So you would just explain in a very enthusiastic voice like, yeah, actually a lot of people, like you would just ignore their negative comments and turn it into positive. So like, yeah, this is way too childish, like, oh, who would buy this? And you would just be like, yeah, but a lot of people actually buy them. This is really awesome. Like, I'm so excited. So many people around the world have my plushies, you know? Just something very positive. So they would really like, yeah, most of them get caught off guard that you reply something positive about it, or you get really excited about their negative comment, you know? Or sometimes even if they remark something, you just smile and just say like, oh, thank you for stopping by, it's okay, maybe in the future if you have more money, you know, then thank you for stopping by, have a nice day. And that's more than enough sometimes. So I tend to spend less time focusing on people that have negative remarks. Some people just cannot shut up and will just remark something, or you would just overhear two people talking like, oh my god, such a big, such a small thing and so overpriced. So just wave it off, or just smile and wave pretty much. And I would just not focus on those people too much, but just show interest, like go and focus on people that actually show interest into your work, that are very excited about, oh, this is so fluffy, oh, this is so cool, you know, it's so cool that you can do this full time and that you stand here with your table. So focus on those people instead. It's gonna be way better for your mental health than the people with negative remarks. I think through a decade of doing conventions, I just started taking them at like with a dose of humor. I just try to reply with something funny, or with something positive back, be excited about their negative comment, you know, because at the end of the day, it's still like, I'm behind the table, I'm doing something awesome that they are not able to do, and maybe never would be able to do, and I'm doing it. It's like, how awesome is that? I'll focus on that and just, yeah, do that. But yeah, I think this is the last question that I managed to answer. And I didn't see any new questions popping up, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. If you have any questions through the week or so, you're always welcome to comment them on Patreon, and I'll check. I hope that it was a bit insightful to have this Q&A. It was way longer than I expected, so it's been a little bit over 2 hours long. It took me about 6 hours to prepare like all the questions and gather pictures. So yeah, I hope that it was insightful. I hope that you liked it and that you managed to get something out of it. So I'm quite I find it quite nice, and also like just being able to see like my first convention table, my second convention table, and like some of my latest convention tables. It's really yeah, it's really nice. Here, this one was very tiny. I was hosted by another artist, so I had like just a little bit of table. But yeah, it's awesome to see the progress on my worker here. It's awesome to see like first table, second table. Yeah, this is the latest table. So it's yeah, the progress, it's awesome. They're just first and last one. So it's definitely like a trip down memory lane. But yeah, I hope that you're able to get some useful information, and I'm curious if you have any other questions or maybe even any other tips. Maybe you agree or disagree with some stuff that I said, so I would definitely like to hear your opinion about it. But for now, me and Manu are gonna sign off. There we go. His wing broke during the last convention, so I need to repair him a bit. And I'm noticing that my voice is disappearing again. So I think it's a good time to stop the live stream here. So I hope that it's useful. Maybe if you're interested, we could do Q&As like this, maybe a little bit shorter, like of 1 hour, of during the weeks, of like any topic of your choice. We could choose like a topic each week and just discuss it in this way. I don't know if you would be interested in that. But for now, me and Manu are gonna go to sleep. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.